Hello, everybody. Alex here again, and I am motivated and inspired to talk about something today which comes from the world of cinema, and namely Werner Herzog's Minnesota Declaration of 1999, in which he discusses ecstatic truth. And if that sounds a bit academic, it's not really, because it's Werner Herzog we're talking about, and he is an autodidact uh, and uh, the most energetic auteur of recent movie making history. He is not. He might be academically knowledgeable and interested and researched, but his points, I think, have a practical purpose in for him in filmmaking. But we're here to discuss photography, and I believe that what Herzog has to say is as relevant to photographers in working in documentary as it is to filmmakers. So, I'm shamelessly sort of tagging this little talk onto the next exhibition that's going to take place at Flow Photographic Gallery, which I believe this discussion relates to. So let me just first of all tell you about. Okay, I'm going to leave that. I'll announce what the next. It's a pretty big one, so I'll announce who we're showing next at the gallery in a minute. But what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to set out this idea that Herzog had, which really excited me when I heard it, and it is his mention, or his description, I should say, of what is constituted by what he calls the ecstatic truth. And in his Minnesota Declaration, he gave I think it was originally a 12-point manifesto of his approach to truth and filmmaking, and his criticism and his critique of what so-called cinema verite. He then added to it a couple of years later, but I'm referring here to his original declaration, and to a couple of added addenda that he made later. So point 5 of the original declaration is: there are deeper strata of truth in cinema, and there is such a thing as poetic, ecstatic truth. It is mysterious and elusive and can be reached only through fabrication and imagination and stylization. Now, I want to unpack what I mean by ecstatic truth, because I think that's what this piece is all about. And I think it's something that we're all aware of, even if we don't know we don't know the term. And what it means to me, I've written a sentence here. The ecstatic in this context means it goes back to the original Greek, which means to remove the individual from their mind, as it were. And here it means ecstatic. The word ecstatic removes the individual from the physical realm and forces them into an encounter with the ineffable. Okay, so for what I mean by that is that the sum of the parts of an image, let's take this into the photographic realm where it isn't usually discussed, that the sum of the parts of an image are what Herzog in his declaration in point 1 actually is what he calls the truth of accountants. Now, the truth of accountants is what you might call evidence, and that to read an image as the sum of the evidence it displays is, to Herzog, the most futile activity or expansion of energy, because what he's looking for in his movies, but I think as I'll come to in a minute, also in images, the ecstatic truth is the truth, the ineffable truth that we all understand innately when we're removed from the normal thinking of our minds. And actually for Herzog, he hates the idea of facts because he considers them to be normative. That is to say, that they create new norms and impose new ways of thinking on the world rather than illuminating. So, so the ecstatic truth is the illumination of the individual to a certain ineffable truth that does not rely on facts to do it. Although he admits that that truth can be stranger than fiction, which is one of his points. But that doesn't negate the art of the filmmaker or the photographer or the artist or whatever in compiling an image through composition, through skill, through mastery, through, as he says, stylization, through the magic that you can weave by bringing disparate ideas together that are not based on fact, that creates a kind of ineffable understanding and illumination in the individual. And he cites as his three patron saints. And he says, rearranging facts is not automatically a lie, and calling it one reflects shallow thinking. Okay? So he cites his three patron saints as Shakespeare, and Shakespeare's claim that the most truthful poetry is also the most feigned. So it is the poetry that doesn't sort of rely on some kind of compilation of fact. In fact, that actually is the work of the imagination. Is the most truthful. I haven't put that very well, but I think you know what I mean. Andre Gide, modifying facts so they resemble truth more closely than reality does, and that's an important thing. So as the artist or the auteur, you know, whatever you want to call yourself, the director, the photographer, the painter, your responsibility is to the truth, to the truth above all, you know, the truth behind things, and you arrive at that not by faithfully recording what is in front of you, but by compiling, by modifying and reforming so that they resemble truth, the ineffable truth. In a way that reality can't actually get to, can't manage. And then his third patron saint is Michelangelo's Pieta, Christ carved as a man of 33, Mary as a girl of 17, a factual impossibility, Herzog reads, not as a lie, but the sculpture showing us the innermost truth of the man of sorrows and his mother. So this is all... This is what he calls the ecstatic truth. It's a lie that gets you closer to the truth. Okay, so I'm not going to go on about that, but I am going to put in the show notes links to where you can find both his Minnesota Declaration, okay, and as well his the speech he gave, which is excellent. Called "On the Absolute, the Sublime, and the Ecstatic Truth," which he gave in Milan, and I forget when, but it was in the early 2000s. So this has been out there for a while now. Because it's been out there for a while, because the term ecstatic truth has been out there for a while, and his own explanation and his own claim to it, he says in an interview that you should touch the term with a pair of pliers, meaning don't trust it. And he doesn't even fully claim to have coined the term himself, but I haven't heard anybody else use it. So things evolve, and it's out there in the world, and I think my understanding of it has probably evolved from what he originally intended, but that's the power of a good idea. And so I think, you know, this film this little clip that I'm making now is a way of getting that idea out further and into the minds of other people, where it will germinate and evolve as things will. And so the reason that I went into all of this was because I've been researching the work of Graciela Iturbide, because Graciela's work will be the feature, the next exhibition at Flow. And it will open in later in 2026. I'm working on it as we speak. I don't even have a title for it yet. But if, like me, you love Graciela's work, then you can't but love her, the way she treats her the way she engages with her world, in particular Mexico, because she's the protege of Manuel Alvarez Bravo. So she for her the world is surreal. And Mexico in particular is full of animism and complicated meshing of different cultures, of indigenous animistic beliefs and Christianity, and imported language and native Indian customs and practices and culture going back millennia. Um, but she does it, and so the way that she covers this is never literally. I mean, it's that there's that other two other phrases that spring to mind, which I think I try to keep in mind myself for my own work, which is show don't tell, which I think I first learned from Paddy Summerfield. But it's that idea that you show the world what you want them to see. Don't tell them about what it is you've seen. So don't describe, just illuminate. And the other one is a Chekhov quote, I believe, which is, this isn't verbatim, but it says, don't show me the moon, don't show me the moon in the sky. Show me it reflected in a shard of broken glass, if you want to tell me about the moon." Okay, so which I think is a beautiful statement, and so I think that, and I'm still trying to work out how the idea of the ecstatic truth relates to the work of Graciela Iturbide. I just sense it instinctively, and, and maybe I'm trying to force it, but I don't think so, because I think that where Graciela is working is in that liminal state between the real and the ethereal. So she's not, she is not bound to the earth in the way that, say, some photographers are. And I mean, I actually don't want to name the photographers, because I don't want to sort of sully this with the negative comparisons. And it's not fair either, really, to Graciela to bring her work into comparison with work which isn't just not comparable, empirically so. But her work is expressive, it's intuitive, and it's incredibly humane. And I think what it does is it puts the human spirit before anything. And no matter what she's photographing the thing that animates the human spirit. Now, she might be using Yucatan or Mexico, areas of Mexico, of her homeland, to do this. But I think where this meets the test of the ecstatic truth, as I understand it, is that it has a sort of universal appeal to everybody, even if the culture and all the sort of ephemera, the sort of cultural figments that accompany her work, or that are very much in her work, are completely and utterly alien to us. So I can recommend this book, Images of the Spirit. It's beautifully printed. I myself bought this copy in Tokyo recently, and it's absolutely perfect. And I'd never seen it before, but I am very, very glad I managed to get it because it is just wonderfully printed, very, very unself-consciously warm, and reflecting her work very well. The other book, which I really have enjoyed, is this, which is the Aperture book on Well, it's really by Graciela herself, and it's about her approach to making images, and there are just little paragraphs where she's written about certain images or certain ideas behind her work or certain motivations in her work. And I think it's a really wonderful book. This series of Aperture books is excellent. There's a lovely Darwood Bay edition as well, and others. And I would like to see many, many, many of these. So that's it, really. The Ecstatic Truth and an announcement of the next exhibition at Flow Photographic Gallery. Graciela Iturbide, Werner Herzog. You only get those two married on Psychographica. So please, as ever, let me know what you think in the comments, either privately or publicly, preferably, because that gets a conversation going. But until the next time, and please look at the show notes. I always make a really big effort to put the show notes with links and so on. So don't let me do that in vain. Take advantage of them, please. And I hope you found this illuminating. I hope you found it ecstatic. And I look forward to hearing from you if you choose to get in touch with me, and I'll be back in touch with you soon. Okay, thanks a lot then. Bye-bye.